Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be another makeup nostalgia video. If you didn't see my previous makeup nostalgias, I will link that playlist up above for you. But basically I take a palette that I feel needs a little bit more attention, that one that, you know, was really popular at some point but doesn't get as much love these days, and I do two different looks with that palette. But I created both of these looks with the Lorac Pro palette, the original Lorac Pro. I really do enjoy this palette. I held on to this one. I got rid of the second one, not because it's not good or that I didn't like it, but I was just trying to pare down my collection. But I still kept this one because it is such a great staple palette. You can create so many different looks with this palette. Honestly, I could have done 10 more looks, but you know, we gotta shorten it somewhere. So if you want to see more looks of this palette, certainly let me know. I can do that. But I just feel like this is such a universal great palette for the neutral lover, of course. I mean, you can do something a little bit smoky and there are some colors in there, but for the most part, you know, it's a neutral palette. The quality is great. I really do love this. So I enjoyed creating these two different looks for you. So if you want to see the first look, then you can just keep on watching and then continue to watch to see this look. So I hope you enjoy. All right, so let's get started with the first look. If you want to know anything else that I'm wearing, then just make sure and check the description box. I'll put everything else down there because we are just going to focus on the eyes. I'm going to keep the first look a little bit more soft and natural, and then I'm going to do the second look a little more smoky and nighttime appropriate. And as usual, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I think that I'm going to do this light pink color here, and I think I'll add in a little bit of the mauve shade as well and do a little bit of a purplish pinkish crease, and then, you know, do something kind of soft on the lid. And this is a really nice palette. I don't use it as much as I should anymore. I don't really know why, but I will say the only drawback to these, they're super pigmented, they're beautiful shadows, and they do blend out really easily. They just are very powdery, so you have to be very, very careful. I'm gonna be especially careful because, yeah, you can already see like how much kind of kicks up. You definitely have to really tap off your brush, and they just they have a lot of fallout, so you have to be really careful, especially if you're, you know, you've done your face already like I have. And this shade is very, very soft. I'm just kind of going in to sort of, you know, just add a little bit of something before we go in with that mauve shade. You can still see it. I mean, it's a little bit darker than my skin tone, but it's still pretty soft. But again, that's fine. That's kind of what we're going for anyway. You can see every time I have to kind of blow on my palette and I have to tap off the excess every single time because it just kicks up a lot of product, which I don't really mind, honestly. I do feel like sometimes it wastes product. That's really the only thing that bothers me about it, because I don't mind tapping off my brush. In fact, I usually do, unless I know that I don't have any issues with, you know, fallout, because, you know, I just want to have the bare minimum on my brush. But if you're somebody who is bothered by that, then you'll definitely not be a fan of these. But they are really nice shadows. You can see it's just really pretty. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to take a little bit more of a precise brush, still like a blending brush, but as you can see, smaller, just so that I can keep this, you know, blown out in the crease, but just a little bit more targeted, not quite as blown out. And I'm going to go in with that mauve shade there, so you can see a little more purpley and a little less pink. I know it's kind of washing it out, but this is a little more pink than it looks there. It almost looks white in that. But if you can actually, you can probably see the difference. If you look at light pink compared to this white shade, you can see the difference. It's still a little bit washed out, but you can see the difference if you compare it to the white. This mauve shade actually is not quite as bad as that light pink, so I guess some of them are, you know, a little bit more than others. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of like a gradient, so I'm going to go in with Pewter there, which is still soft, but it's sort of like a taupey shade. So I'm going to start with that, and then I think that I'm going to put Nude, this one right here on the inner part. So I'll kind of, you know, start off with the Pewter and then move into the Nude. And we might deepen out the corner even more. We'll just see, but that's what I'm going to start with. And I actually might go in and prime that part with some glitter glue or something, just because sometimes these have the fallout like I mentioned, so I don't want to have that issue. I'm gonna kind of put that all over the lid just so that I don't get anything on my face, or avoid it anyway. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna spritz it. We'll just kind of see what the intensity is like. Yeah, I don't think I need to, and you know, especially since I'm kind of trying to keep this a little bit more of like a soft daytime look, I don't want to spritz it. We may spritz the nude. We'll just see how bright that one is, because we might want to brighten up the inner corner. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted these shimmers to be a little more intense, then you could certainly get them wet, but they don't need it. So I'm gonna go back into the mauve shade and just kind of blend out the edges a little bit. And normally I would deepen up the outer corners just a little bit, but I don't think we need to if we're keeping this kind of soft. I'm going to take the white shade to highlight, because we have a lot of shimmer going on, so I don't feel like we need something that's shimmery in the inner corners. Just something that's gonna brighten it up. You see, you can see it brightens it up, but it doesn't have any shimmer in it. And I'm gonna mix that with the cream shade just so it's not quite as intense, and put that underneath my brow. I'm just gonna take a little bit of the espresso shade, so it's a really, really dark brown, and I'm gonna use that as just a liner. I'm not going to wing it out or anything. I'm just gonna kind of put it right up against the lash line. I'll show you a little bit, and then I'll do the rest up close. And I'm just gonna take it and sort of press it into the lash line. So it's not gonna look like a harsh liner, but it's still going to, you know, define the lash line just a little bit. I did this in another one of my makeup nostalgia videos, and I really like this trick, especially if you're somebody who really is uncomfortable using, you know, liquid liner or even a pencil liner. This is just a really nice way to define the lash line. You can see the difference there. It's really subtle. You can see there, you know, it just adds a little bit of definition there, but it doesn't look harsh, and you don't really notice that it's there. So I'm gonna do the rest, and then you'll be able to see a little bit better. I really love the way that that looks. And if you wanted to go in with black to make it more intense, you could certainly do that. I just thought that the brown would be a little softer. And for the lower lash line, I'm gonna keep it pretty simple. I'm gonna take that mauve shade, and I'm just gonna put it underneath and not smoke it out too much. I really think even if you know, are doing a pretty soft look and you're not comfortable wearing a lot of eyeshadow, I do feel like, you know, if you have this at the top, you got to do something on the bottom, even if it's just as simple as this, you know, putting a little bit of shadow underneath. It just balances it out. It makes a big difference. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of a nude liner and put that in my waterline. It will just sort of open the eyes a little bit more. It's a subtle effect, but it makes a difference, I think. So I'm just gonna add some mascara, and I'll see you in a second. All right, so this is the finished look. I really love a look like this. I think it is perfect to go to work, you know, depending on what you're doing. I think this is a really great professional looking look. I think it'd be great for a date, you know, if you wanna wear something that's a little more natural and romantic and pretty looking. I think that this is a really sweet look. You know, not everybody wants to wear something super dramatic and bold, and that's okay. And I think that this palette, you can accomplish both, which is what I really like about it. So if you want to see the more dramatic nighttime look, then just keep on watching. All right, so we're gonna go into the second look for today using the Lorac Pro palette. And like I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to do a much more smoky look today. I think maybe I'll use both of these shades, the deep purple and the slate, I think. So I think I'm gonna go in with that taupe shade in my crease. There isn't really, like, other than that mauve, there isn't really anything that great cool tone wise to use in this, you know, and some of these shades are really cool toned. This is called taupe, but yes, it's more cool toned than this brown sable right here, but I still feel like that's not quite cool toned enough, but I think it will be fine. We'll make it work. We'll see how it looks. Maybe it'll look a little more cool tone when I put it on my eyes. So I'm gonna go in with that one, putting that all through my crease. And I do like the way the palette is designed, the fact that the top is all mattes and the bottom is all shimmers. I think that that's really, it's easy to use. But I don't know, I just feel like there are, you know, they're a little bit limiting, I don't know. But I do feel like you can create a lot of different looks with this palette. It is a great palette. Yeah, I think this is gonna work nicely. It definitely looks a little more cool toned on the eyes than it looks in the pan. Sometimes that does happen. And sometimes you don't want that, but I think in this case, I'm happy with that. So we'll keep it like that for now. And I'm definitely gonna put something on my lid. I think I'm gonna go with the NYX glitter glue today, because not only do I not want there to be fallout, but I want these shimmers to last a good amount of time. I mean, you know, I'm going out this evening, not that I need it to last like all day, but I am going out this evening. But I also really want them to be vibrant. I think I might wet them as well. They may not need it, but I think I just will anyway. And I'm gonna do one eye at a time, and then I will go in and perfect it a little bit more. We'll start with this eye because you can see this eye better. I don't know why I always like go for this eye first. So I think I'm gonna do sort of a halo eye with these shades, because I mean, this one is still dark even though it's a little bit lighter than this one. They're just mostly like different tones, but I don't know, we'll see how that looks. If I feel like I need to like brighten up the center a little bit more, we may do that, but I think that's what I'm gonna go for first. That's that purple, and I am gonna wet them. I'm gonna wet both of them, I think. And even though this one is shimmery, like I feel like it's not gonna really like show up too shimmery just because it's really dark. So I'm gonna put it on the outer corner, in the corner, and then I'm gonna kind of sweep it up through the top. And I need to get up close to my mirror, so I'm gonna do that on both eyes. So just to kind of show you where I'm at with that, I did that on both eyes, and as you can see, it's really messy. So now we have to go in and kind of smooth out those edges a little bit before we then go in with slate in the center. And we'll need to maybe go back and forth a little bit with, you know, whatever we put in the crease and with deep purple, because it's just going to kind of, we're gonna need to do that. And I think I'm gonna actually go back into that mauve shade that we used yesterday. I'm gonna use that one kind of in the crease. I don't want something too dark, I don't think. I may go in with a tiny bit of a darker shade. We'll kind of see. I'm gonna see how this one works first to kind of blend everything out. And I'm really gonna be gentle, not because I'm worried about blending the color away, because I can go back in and fix that, but mostly just because I don't want it to get too messy. I don't wanna blend this purple too far upwards. So I really just kind of want to smooth out the edges. And so now I'm gonna kind of just touch up that color a little bit because we lost some of that with the blending. One more time with the mauve shade, but very gently, just so that we don't have to go back in. I mean, you could just do this a million times, and you know, at some point you just have to call it, you know? I mean, I'm not the most perfect blender in the universe. I mean, you know, and so for me, you know, I reach a certain point where I'm like, that looks good enough for my taste, and you kind of have to decide what that means to you. You know, I don't need it to be perfect. I'm just an everyday person, you know, that likes to do makeup. I'm not a makeup artist, so, you know, I just kind of, however I, you know, like whenever I get to a point where I feel like it looks good enough, then I call it. I mean, like it doesn't have to be perfect. I don't think it does. I mean, I do makeup because it's fun and it's relaxing and it's like me time. And so I don't want to take away from that by feeling like I can't get it right, you know. I'm gonna go in now with Slate in the center. And I'm gonna see, I think I might add a little bit more of that glitter glue because I feel like I lost it when I was blending. And I will say, you know, and this is partly just my fault, I am still getting some fallout. This palette just does that pretty badly, even though I've been really good about tapping off my brush. So for a look like this, you really just should do your eyes first. I just, you know, because of the type of video that I'm doing, I wanted to do my eyes last. It's not too bad though, and I can kind of cover that up a little bit at the end, but just wanted to point that out. I'm gonna go in with that Slate shade right there. I also love that this palette is so sleek. You know, it's got a nice mirror, and hello, it's got a nice mirror, and it's just really compact, so it would be good for travel. I don't know, we might want to brighten that up just a little bit more. We'll see when I'm done. It looks nice. It does catch the light because it's shimmery, but I still think that I want to put just a little bit of something on top. I'm going to take the shade Champagne, I think, because we used nude yesterday, so I'm going to go for Champagne. I'm just going to take a tiny bit on my finger and just see if that kind of does the trick. Like, I don't want to totally, yeah, I think that that's good. I don't want to totally cover up the color, but it needs to be brightened up just a little bit more for my taste. Yeah, I like that a lot better. the tiniest amount that I put on my finger. I didn't even use all of it. And then I just took a clean finger and just tapped out the edges a little bit. And so that makes a big difference to me. So I'm gonna put on some black liner and then I'll do the lower lash line. All right, so they are not even at all, but we're just gonna go with it. That's just the way that it goes. I can't mess with them anymore or else it's gonna become even more of a mess. I'm going to take my Laura Mercier Caviar Stick in Amethyst. This is one of my favorites. I'm gonna put this sort of on the waterline and smudged underneath, and then I think I'm gonna take a little bit of espresso and press that into the lower lash line, and then I'll blend it out with mauve. Just like that. Not all the way in, because I don't think we need to. But this is just gonna kind of define the lower lash line a little bit. And then I'll take mauve on a pencil brush and blend that out just a little bit. And I want this to be pretty smoky. I mean, not like crazy, but you know, this is a more nighttime look, so kind of blend it into the wing a little bit there. I'm gonna do my lashes and I will be back in a second. That is the finished look. What do you think? Which look do you like better? Definitely let me know in the comments below which one you prefer and why. Also leave me a comment down below and let me know if there is a palette that you want me to include in this Makeup Nostalgia series. I definitely have a lot of palettes that could go into this category, so please let me know if you have one in particular that you want to see. I will link my eyeshadow palette collection and declutter video up in the cards, just in case you didn't see that video, because then you'll be able to see all the palettes that I own and the ones that I kept. But if there's one in particular that you want to see, definitely let me know. I hope you enjoyed watching both of these looks. If you like this video, please make sure and give it a big thumbs up. That really does help out my channel so much. If you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. I would so love for you to stick around, and I really hope to see you next time. Bye.